It is quite truly incredible how a company can screw up their own game, just like Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft, when they are effectively making a ton of mistakes, and they're infuriating now even like shrines and religious people in Japan. So what's going on, guys? Why is this happening? So a Japanese shrine demands, they literally have sent a letter demanding the removal from Assassin's Creed Shadows after Ubisoft depicts its destruction. So this has happened, this is from this video. So Ubisoft has landed in yet another controversy as the Itatake Hyozu Jinja shrine in Japan was formally requested, has formally requested the removal of its sacred site from the game. The demand comes after a recent video footage that the game allows the players to enter the shrine and actively destroy the interior. This place is an active place of worship. We're gonna see the video in a second. And of course, they are smashing items and demolishing the temple's altar, which is a direct insult to the Shintoism, because the temple and the mirror, which is on the table, is an allusion to the actual representation of the deity of the Shinto. So check this one out, guys, because this is crazy. Look at this one. This is our next. We have here the classic awesome samurai in Japan, of course, Yasuke, 100%. He enters, and this is where things get a bit crazy, because this is the place, right? This is effectively the main part of the shrine, the mirror, right? This is their deity, and look what just happens right now. This is crazy. Right, all right, okay, boom. Oh, yes, right. So as you can imagine, people are really annoyed about this, because it's literally a destruction of the symbol of the Shinto symbol of the Japanese religion, right? And of course, in other Assassin's Creed games, you cannot physically do that. You cannot destroy the cross, for example, in a Assassin's Creed game in the past, which were based in Italy, Assassin's Creed 2, right? That you just cannot do that, right? Makern, also known as Grooms, has posted this on Twitter. My local sources confirm the Itate Hyozu Jinja shrine in Japan has filed a formal request to Ubisoft asking them to remove the entire religious site from the game. My source tells me that the temple leaders are very upset at the use of their shrine and the ability to destroy the interior. And of course, you know, they're entitled to that. I mean, you are literally allowing a gamer to virtually destroy a real religious site. And for them, that is equal to vandalism, because it is an actual place. It's not a, hypothetical or like just, created place, like a fantasy place. It's an actual religious place, which people go to the shrine. So, people feel quite bad about it. Do you guys remember, of course, the issue which has happened also with the, with the Torii Gate? This is the broken Torii Gate from Nagasaki. That was also a big issue where people complained about it because they were showing the, the toys effectively in the middle of that, and that was again an insult to the Japanese people, because that reminded them of the bombings of the Second World War. Again, one example of how tone deaf a company can be. Now, there's ways to sort this out. I mean, Ubisoft doesn't have to do much change. All they have to do is literally just make the place indestructible. So the sanctuary, for example, or like protected by something, by like some sort of thing in which they cannot destroy the mirror and the temple area, and the altar, because that is the most important part of the temple. The altar is the representation of their deity. So yeah, just imagine, for example, in Assassin's Creed 2, right? Like this one here, remember that in Assassin's Creed 2 you could fight against the Pope, which that was possible. So many people say, yeah, but in AC2 you can fight against the Pope. So it's kind of the same thing. Not really, because in AC2 you cannot attack the church, you cannot destroy the statue of Jesus, for example, you cannot destroy the cross, you cannot literally destroy a religious icon in the church, right? You cannot do that. All you can do is fight against the Pope, and that's pretty much it. So in this one, for example, the Pope is just a the Pope is just basically a human, right? He's not a god. So that's the problem with the Japanese entities, right? Because the Japanese people from the shrine, they're angry because they are attacking the actual representation of their god. So because of that, this whole thing kind of exploded in the face of Ubisoft, which is just not a surprise. I mean, common sense. The question is, will Ubisoft comply? With the Itate Hyozu Jinja shrine formally requesting the removal from AC Shadows, the question remains, will Ubisoft comply or will they ignore it? Yet another legitimate grievance from the very culture it claims to respect. Given the company's track record and the game's rapidly approaching release date, skepticism is warranted. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, guys. We are seeing quite big issues here with the game, and this one again should show that this is not the first time, right? This is not the first time. This has happened quite a few times. If we go here on Twitter, we can see there's been a couple of instances where this happened. For example, here, in this one, the temple joins a long list of Japan gaffes that have plagued the game, such as the unauthorized use of the Sekigahara Rifle Corps banner, by the way, which was a thing. They used it without their authorization in the art book concept art. Also, they stole the design of the sword from Zoro from One Piece. So again, they did a lot of things in which they didn't ask for authorization and credit to basically put that stuff into their game, which they're going to sell and make a ton of money from. So that is a problem. Yes, and there are some people saying here the following. I mean, if you wanted to talk about blasphemy, I can't think of anything worse than Assassin's Creed 2, yet I didn't hear any fallout from the Catholics. Christianity and Catholicism is busy surrendering and agreeing with the critics trying to destroy them. Other religions and belief systems defend themselves. It is what it is until something changes. And that's basically the current situation. The current situation is that the Japanese culture, or better said, the Japanese religious entities, they see this as an attack to their faith, and, you know, they're entitled to. They're entitled to because, you know, Ubisoft should not be allowed to kind of allow for you to destroy the actual representation of their deity in the game. If it was a fake god, like basically a god which is not rooted into the Japanese tradition, like a, you know, fantasy god, or like a hypothetical god, like a mythological god which is not linked to the actual Japan, it will be fine. But in this case, the actual mirror, the altar, everything represents basically the deity of Shinto in Japan, which is the main issue which we're having here with this particular thing. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe that this is a request which is, I don't know, too much? Is it pushing it too far? Are the Japanese monks and, you know, employees and people who manage the shrine, are they, you know, crossing a line? Do you believe that they're not allowed to do that? Do you believe that it is their right to do that? Or do you believe that they should just stay quiet? I mean, what is your point of view on this? What do you believe? How do you believe these people should feel if you, let's say, you own your own temple, your own shrine, and then they make a video game where you can go and destroy and vandalize that shrine which you basically maintain in your family for like a few centuries? How would you feel yourself, right? I mean, that's the big question. How would you feel? Remember that in the Sucker Punch game, Ghost of Tsushima, for example, you cannot do this. You cannot enter and destroy shrines and temples as you can do in this game. That was not allowed. So again, that was not allowed because for a reason, because those people wanted to respect a bit more the cultures and religions of the Japanese people, in which in this case Ubisoft, although they hired a bunch of quote-unquote experts and consultants, it seems that things are not turning up as they want them to turn up. So guys, that is a problem in itself. But anyway, that's it for today's video. As always, see you later in the next one.